Light emitting diode LED. LED is the discussion of today's lecture. We are discussing LED as one of the optical source, one of the important optical sources. We know that there are two optical sources, LED and laser diode. So LED is light emitting diode. In this lecture, we will discuss about the ability of this diode to generate a light signal, which is very important signal used in the optical communication, or to generate light signal. So as we can see here, LED is the special type of diode which has similar electrical characteristics to PN junction diode. When we see the characteristic of LED, it is almost similar, but as its name suggests, there is main difference. The difference is, in ordinary diode, when it is forward biased, what happens? Current flows. So input is electrical, output is also electrical. In LED, input is electrical, but output is not electrical, output is current. But when we get the equivalent current due to which the light is emitted, we'll get some plot. So therefore the characteristic is almost similar. The current flows, but that current which flows is the main cause for the light which is emitted. It passes current in the forward direction but blocks it in the reverse direction. Ordinarily, in normal diode, it happens. In forward bias, current flows, but in reverse bias, there is no current. There is very minimum current, that too when we increase the potential in reverse bias, there is some minimum current called as reverse saturation current. So LEDs are made from very thin layer of almost heavily doped semiconductor materials. Very thin layer. Depending on the semiconductor material used and the amount of doping, how much doping we do and what material is used for manufacturing LED, it emits light of a particular color. Particular color means a particular wavelength, because we know that the color of light depends on wavelength. So at certain wavelength is generated. So we see a particular color emitted by diode LED. Under forward bias, electrons from the semiconductor conduction band recombine with the holes from the valence band and releases some energy to produce photons as a monochromatic light. We know that when there is a forward bias, so the electrons which are there in conduction band, they will recombine with holes of valence band. When they will recombine with holes of valence band, is coming from higher energy level to low energy level. Electrons are in conduction band, high energy level. So this process will release some amount of energy. That amount of energy which is released is in the form of photons here. Ordinary diode, PN junction diode, is manufactured with indirect band gap semiconductors like silicon and germanium. We have discussed what is direct band gap and what is indirect band gap in previous lecture. So indirect band gap semiconductor materials are used to manufacture ordinary diode, whereas the light emitting diode is manufactured with a direct band gap. So there is some difference. And because of that difference, light emitting capability is there in LED. So see here an interesting diagrams, this is the first one is symbol. Let me use the pointer. Okay, so see here, this is the symbol. The symbol you can see as similar to diode, but there is something extra, something is emitting here from the diode. So anode and cathode, there are two terminals, there is a PN junction, but light is emitting, that is the difference. Then see, there are two more diagrams, the constructional diagrams. You can see that this is the better colorful representation when there is an anode wire connected to anode and then cathode, plate spot is here, the reflective cavity is there. That's what when the light is emitted, the reflective cavity helps to emit the light. There is epoxy lens here. Because of that, there is some beam, there is some light which is emitted finally from this area. And this is the anode. We have two terminals, anode and cathode, two leads. And this is the more detailed description of the same constructional diagram of LED, anode, cathode, plate spot. This is called as NV and post, which are lead frame where the two leads are connected. Semiconductor die is here, reflective cavity is there, you see here, and then wire bond, and then epoxy lens in case. And third one is the actually operational diagram where LED works. You can see here a battery is connected. A DC battery is connected here where positive terminal is connected with the anode of LED. Negative terminal is connected with cathode of LED. Of course, you cannot directly connect this positive terminal with the anode. We always connect through some series resistance. We'll discuss this, but this is very simple. It happens in many of the applications. If you can connect directly here, the current capacity is not very high. So because of the high amount of current which will enter, there will be damage in LED. Large current will flow and there will be damage. And therefore, there is always series resistance which is connected. So we all understand that when there is series resistance, there will be some drop of voltage. The current will enter, same current will enter, but the same, the effective amount of voltage which will appear across LED will be less. So LEDs, they convert electrical energy into light energy. Unlike ordinary diode where the final output is also the electrical, here the output is your light energy, electrical energy into optical energy. This is why LED is used as optical source. Optical source is the source of energy that generates its signal in the form of light. And this is what we are getting here. So LEDs are used as optical or light sources. The construction of LED is very different from that of the normal diode. I have already explained in previous lecture. I have mentioned this. The construction is different, unlike ordinary PN diode. Materials are different. Silicon and germanium indirect band gap semiconductor materials, they are used in construction of ordinary diode, whereas in constructing the LED, the direct band gap semiconductor materials are used, which we'll discuss in next slide. The PN junction of LEDs, there is PN junction, of course. There is a PN junction, of course, therefore symbol is similar, which is surrounded by transparent hard plastic epoxy. We have seen the construction, resin hemispherical shaped body which protects LED from both vibration and shock. We all understand very easily. Shock problem will be there. So in order to protect it from shock, vibration, we have to provide certain arrangement. Epoxy resin body is constructed in such a way that the photons of light emitted by the junction are reflected away from the surrounding substrate. Substrate means the base area to which the diode is attached. If there is no reflective body, the light which will be emitted, which is being emitted, will not be visible that much. So reflecting capability has to be there so that it can focus. The epoxy resin can focus upwards through the domed top of LED. You have seen there was a domed top. So towards the domed top, there is focusing of light so that in that area only focusing is taking place. Otherwise, in our previous lecture, we have seen that the light which is generated in LED, the bundle of photons are not coherent. They are incoherent. They move in different directions. They are not, their directivity is very poor. So what we need to focus in certain area, certain direction. That's what is the top, and this epoxy resin body is constructed in such a manner that focusing takes place so that we can see some intensity of light from certain area getting reflected. So it is attached and therefore it goes upward towards the dome top of LED. The emitted light appears bright at the top of LED because some focusing arrangement is made so that that domed top area receives maximum photons or light energy. So we can see some brightness, not that intense, not that high intensity as we can see in laser beam. Laser beam is very powerful. Some LEDs have rectangular or cylindrical shape having flat surface on top also. They are not always in same shape, but they are in different rectangular, cylindrical, spherical. Structures are there where, but all of them will have almost flat top of, almost a flat surface on top, so that in that way, in a domed shape, we can focus the light and good amount of brightness can be experienced, can be seen from the LED. As I told you that there are materials which are different from the materials which are used to construct the LED. So in this slide, you can see here, LEDs are made from exotic semiconductor compound materials such as gallium arsenide, GaAs, gallium phosphide, here GaP, gallium arsenide phosphide, silicon carbide, indium nitride. All these mixed together at different ratios, proportions to produce distinct wavelength of color. There is a band gap theory. When we have the different proportions, in our previous lecture we have discussed, when we have different proportions of these materials, the band gap changes, wavelength will also change. And if wavelength is changing, the distinct wavelength will produce distinct color. And that distinction comes from the proper combinations, proper proportion, proper ratios of these materials in all compound materials. There is one interesting thing here. In ordinary semiconductor, you all know that silicon and germanium, which are semiconductor materials, basic semiconductor materials, elementary semiconductor materials are used. But you see here gallium arsenide. Gallium is metallic element, arsenide is metallic element. But the compound material, gallium phosphide, phosphorus is metallic element. Gallium is metallic, but gallium phosphide behaves as semiconductor. This is a direct band gap semiconductor. How can we say that it behaves as semiconductor? One thing we can see is the temperature coefficient of resistance is always also negative. So this is how we can compare that these materials are semiconductor materials. But these materials are used in order to manufacture, in order to construct the LED. The different LEDs compound, different LED compound, these compound materials, They emit light in specific regions of visible light spectrum and thus produces different intensity levels. We know that there is a visible spectrum. If we see the entire EM spectrum, we find that 460 to some 700 nanometer wavelength, that area is a visible spectrum. And in that visible spectrum, our human eyes can see different colors, can perceive different colors. So in that spectrum, the different intensity levels, different wavelength can be produced by these different materials. So the proportions, so the ratios are very important in order to generate a specific value of intensity which we can see in the EM spectrum. The different LED components will emit light in specific regions of spectrum. The color of light of LED is not determined by the coloring of LED, the plastic body, the surface, the cover. It's not there actually. There will be some effect. When we put an encapsulation like cover, a green color, we may see the light as a green, or we may put a transparent, we will see the light as a transparent, whatever is the natural light. But these are slightly colored to both enhance the light output. Sometimes we can put the green surface or red surface so that the colors may look more bright. But the originality, the original color is not because of this plastic body. It is because of the concept that they will generate some specific intensity, a specific wavelength of, specific wavelength in the entire EM spectrum. You see here, this is an interesting diagram I have taken from electronics tutorials, right? So therefore credit goes to the electronics tutorial. Semiconductor materials are gallium arsenide. Wavelength is 850 to 940 nanometer. See, you see here it's from 460 to that EM spectrum is around some 700 or some nearby region. But it's not visible, it is infrared. Therefore, I was thinking visible is still 700 nanometer. So infrared, gallium arsenide, infrared. What is the forward voltage? Forward voltage is the voltage across LED which we overcome, and after overcoming that potential barrier, you can say a barrier gap. After overcoming 1.2 volt, the infrared signal will be generated. Gallium arsenide phosphide, 630 to 600 nanometer, red color, 1.8 volt, higher than the infrared. Gallium arsenide phosphide, 605 to 620, amber is the color. Gallium arsenide phosphide nitride, it's yellow color, 2.2 volt. Aluminum gallium phosphide, green color, 3.5 volt. Silicon carbide, 3.6 volt, blue color. Gallium indium nitride, it's white color, right, 450 nanometer and 4 volt. So what we can see here, one interesting thing, when we go from some 450 or 460 nanometer to 700 nanometer in the visible spectrum, we are moving from white color, then blue green, right, blue green, and slowly yellow, amber and red, right, amber and red. See here, white, blue, green, yellow, amber and red, and these are the different colors of different semiconductor materials. And you see here, the semiconductor materials have different materials which are used in composition as a compound material. Their proportions are very important. Their ratios are very important. And one more interesting thing is that when we are moving from white color to infrared color, that is, the band gap, the energy gap which is required to overcome is reduced. Means in a white color, more amount of voltage is required, whereas in red color, lesser amount, much lesser than the white color, that amount of voltage is required to overcome. So this is another P-type of dopant used in LED. In gallium, P-type of dopant can be used. N-type of dopant, arsenic, can be used. We know that there are P-type of dopants, N-type of dopants which are used actually. Gallium is a P type of dopant. Arsenic is N type of dopant, which are also used in is arsenic, antimony, bismuth, aluminum. They're also used as a dopants in ordinary semiconductor. But here the dopants are not used with silicon and germanium, but the dopants are used, there the dopants are used as the impurity. Here we are constructing the material with the help of combination. So gallium arsenide radiates large amount of low brightness. Gallium arsenide, large amount of low brightness, infrared radiation. See here, the infrared is low amount of brightness is generated. The amount of infrared light is good for television remote control, but not as an indicating light. If you want for indicating light, you will need this red color, green color, something like that. When you want a pointer that must generate the indicating light for some green color, red color, blue color, will not like infrared. Remember, when you use the remote control in your television, the signal, the light which is generated by your remote control, you cannot see. But the pointer which you see sometimes, in order to point on different projector, there are some projectors, there are some pointers where you can see the color when it is traveling actually. So the intensity is very important. The low brightness infrared is there, that is used mostly in the remote control of TV. By adding phosphorus as a third dopant, the overall wavelength is reduced to below 680, giving visible light. You see here. Where is the red color? See here, the phosphorus is added. In red and amber, the phosphorus is added. Even in this green color also, phosphorus is added. So further refinement in the doping process, we can still refine the doping process. We can change the combinations, we can change the ratios, and accordingly entire spectrum can cover a different light. So more and more number of lights, more and more values of wavelength can be generated by different series of LEDs which are constructed by using different combinations of these direct band gap semiconductor materials. These are actually the materials like gallium arsenide, infrared, aluminum, gallium phosphide green, gallium nitride, emerald green, gallium indium nitride, near ultraviolet, blue is green and blue color, silicon carbide, blue as a substrate, zinc, selenide, blue color, aluminum galvanide, gallium nitride, ultraviolet, gallium arsenide phosphide, red to infrared, orange color, aluminum gallium arsenide phosphide, high brightness red, orange and yellow color, and red color, is gallium phosphide. So you can see here the different colors are produced by different combinations of these materials. So if you see the working of how these LED work, like normal PN junction diode, LEDs are current dependent devices with forward voltage drop. The LED, the normal diode is also current dependent device, right? The transistor is a current dependent device, unlike your field effect transistor, which is voltage dependent device. So there is voltage drop which needs to be overcome, and depending on semiconductor compound and forward bias LED current. The forward operating voltage is generally 1.2 to 3.6 volts for forward current rating of about 10 to 30 nanoampere. When we want forward current rating of around 10 to 30 milliampere, the forward voltage required is 1.2 to 3.6 volt, with 12 to 20 milliampere being the most common range. The point where the conduction begins and light is produced is about 1.2 volt for a standard red LED to about 3.6 for blue LED. You see here there are different values which are see here the different colors, and the different colors are having the different just a second, different colors because of different voltages as well. So this is the characteristic working. I have already explained how do we connect. We connect the anode with positive terminal, cathode with negative terminal. This is anode and this is cathode. This is a symbol, and this is the characteristic. See here, that this is voltage and this is the forward current. See, whenever there is some current, that equivalent current produces some light. You know that light has always the current equivalently, it produces the photons, bundle of photons. So you see here, infrared is this one having, you see the laser cut-in potential or forward voltage, then red, then amber, then blue, and you see the last one, the white color. White color, in case of white color, more amount of forward voltage is needed. So what is important, you see, if you compare with the ordinary PN diode, you find that in ordinary PN diode also, what happens when there is a cut-in potential which is due to the depletion layer that requires to be overcome. So here also there is some forward voltage after which only significant amount of energy is released. And that forward voltage is actually that voltage which comes from the excitation, the battery. And due to that battery, only electrons then recombine with the holes and release the energy. So therefore, that forward voltage is very much needed here in case of the LED. So this is a characteristic. This characterizes the working principle of LED. See, this is the case when I was explaining. There is series resistance which is required to connect in series with other resistance. You cannot directly connect the supply to the LED. You have to connect the source resistance. So what is source resistance contributions? How can you find this? Vs minus Vf, because this Vs minus Vf divided by the current. Same current is flowing through resistance and the LED. So how can you determine this series resistance? Vs minus Vf divided by If. Or if Rs is known, you can equivalently calculate the amount of the series resistance which is required to get the appropriate amount of current which is flowing through the LED. So the light output intensity is directly proportional to the forward current. This I was explaining you. The light output, whether it is red, amber, yellow or green, that depends on the amount of current also. You know, forward current determines the color component. So therefore, the output intensity or the wavelength of light is directly proportional to the forward current. LED should be current limited using a series resistor. It is limited, current limited. You see here the value can be limited by current. More is the current, lesser will be the resistance. Less is the current, more will be the resistance. It means less current enters through LED, more will be the resistance. More current enters through LED, less will be the resistance. So the current limitation, the current which is flowing through the LED can be limited using the series resistor, and therefore this resistance is used to protect from excessive current flow. Because if this excessive current enters through LED, what will happen? That the LED may even burn due to large current. So never connect a LED directly to the battery or power supply. Otherwise it will destroy, because too much current will pass through it, and even the LED may get burnt also. LED may burn also. So LEDs are operated from low voltage DC supply generally with a series resistor used to control the current which is entering to LED to some safe level, to forward safe level, maybe 5 milliampere or higher till 30 milliampere, depending on how much brightness we want. Lesser is the current. See, lesser is the current, lesser will be the brightness. More is the current, more is the brightness. So more is the current means lesser is the forward voltage, then more is the current. So more is the current, more will be the brightness. All right. And this is one example. You can see here an amber color LED with forward voltage drop of 2 volt is connected with 5 volt of DC supply. The value of series resistor so that the current is 10 milliampere, it can be limited to 10 milliampere, will be 300 ohm. It means when 300 ohm resistance is connected in series with the battery and the LED, means before LED we connect a resistance of 300 ohm, the current will be limited by 10 milliampere only. When we increase the resistance, lesser current will enter. So what is that optimum resistance by which we can allow the current, maximum current as 10 milliampere is 300 ohm. So the current flowing through the diode is 100. Series resistor is used. Suppose there is one more 100 ohm. So suppose the resistance is 100 ohm now. So in that case, the current will be 30 milliamperes. So you can understand, when you reduce the series resistance, current is increasing. When you increase the resistance, current is decreasing. So current limiting capability, current limiting action is operated by the series resistance, which we are connecting in series with the LED. The resistance is connected between the power supply and the LED. We are not directly connecting the power supply, otherwise it may damage. The next, we have discussed now the operation, characteristic, working, introduction, benefit of LED as a light source, the phenomenon to generate the light. Now the LED is used in numerous applications for indicator to generate light signal. But there is one more application which is called as optocoupler. Optocoupler is the name actually, is known as opto-isolator, single electronic device that has LED and also either photodiode, phototransistors, photodiode, and this provides optical signal path between an input connection and output connection, maintaining electrical isolation. When we want electrical isolation between the two circuits, so what we can do, the signal can be generated in the form of light, not electrical signal. Then it can be combined with photodiode, phototriode, or phototransistor, because we know that phototransistor, how does it work? It needs input as the photons, that is light, and then equivalently it can convert into electrical signals. Suppose there are two electrical circuits. We want to isolate both the circuits. So one circuit can be connected with the LED. So it can equivalent current can be converted into light, and then that light can be again converted by the photodiode and can be driven, can drive the another electrical circuit. So two electrical circuit can be combined. They can be coupled as well, right? So this is what is called as optocoupling. Optocoupling is provided by LED, where this consists of a light-proof plastic body having a typical breakdown voltage between some lower value to 5000 volt. It depends whether it is photodiode or phototransistor. This electrical isolation is useful where the signal from low voltage circuit, such as battery powered circuit, computer or microcontroller, to require to operate control another external circuit which requires dangerous main voltage level, high amount of voltage level. So we have such powerful devices that can convert the light signal into large amount of current. So the isolation of the smaller circuit, the low power circuit, especially the battery operated circuit called as computer or microcontroller circuit, they can be separated, they can be isolated from the the electrical circuit or electronic circuit where the voltage level or the current level is very high. This is what is the circuit. See here, this is LED, this side photodiode. Here also there is LED and this side phototransistor. So there is an isolation, and these photons which are generated can be received by the photodiode or phototransistor, and then equivalent current can be produced. So optical transmitters such as infrared emitting gallium arsenide, IR LED, and the optical receivers such as phototransistor or photodiode, they are closely optically coupled and use light to send signals and information between its input and output. So this is how we have discussed about the LED, right? So let us sum up this lecture. In this lecture, we have discussed about light emitting diode as an optical source. There are two optical sources, LED and laser. LED is the optical source where light of lesser strength, lesser directivity is produced. We can manufacture LED not with the ordinary semiconductor materials, that is indirect band gap semiconductor materials, silicon and germanium, but they are manufactured with the help of direct band gap semiconductor materials called as gallium arsenide phosphide. They are the compound materials, and those compound materials are combined in such a manner with certain proportion or certain ratio so that they can generate different wavelength in the entire visible spectrum. So therefore we find that different intensities, different colors are generated by the different LEDs because they are manufactured with the different compound materials. And see, the characteristic is similar to the photodiode. the ordinary diode. In ordinary diode also, when we increase the forward voltage, when it crosses the junction potential, current flows. In the LED also, when we overcome the forward voltage, current flows, and when current flows, the light is emitted. LED is used in numerous applications. It can be also used in optocoupler, which is an interesting application that can provide isolation between a low power, low current circuit and high, large current electrical circuit. We can use a photodiode and phototransistor combination. Photodiode can convert electrical into light. The light can be received by the phototransistor as any other photo track device, and can equivalently convert the large amount of current and can provide to the large current electrical circuit. So the two electrical circuits can be isolated and the protection can be provided by the LED as a optocoupler. There are 100 more applications of LED either as an indicator or as a light source, which are used in different electronic and electrical applications as well as in optical communications. So that's all for this lecture.